Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my workshop. Let me introduce myself a bit first. This is Dr. Chris Kwan from Hong Kong. Actually, I've just got the degree, my PhD degree from the University of Hong Kong, and I think Chris knows that my major is in applied linguistics, or more precisely, applied English studies. I'm interested in discourse analysis, pragmatics, and second language writing. So that's why today's topic actually fits my research interest. And I have a range of hobbies, including singing karaoke and working out. So I don't just do academic stuff, but I also do other things to enrich my life. Okay, to, 2 weeks ago, I actually gave a workshop on how to write and request email appropriately. And today, let's talk about another topic, that is the cohesion and coherence in writing. I will go into detail about the concepts of cohesion and coherence later in this workshop. Okay, I have two intended learning outcomes for you. By the end of this workshop, you should be able to, number one, identify the common thematic progression patterns. We have three in total: constant, zigzag, and mixed, and be able to apply these patterns in academic writing. And the second learning outcome is that you should be able to identify the common cohesive devices. Here in the workshop, I've included three, and they are reference words, connectives, and lexical cohesion. And you should be able to apply them in academic writing after the workshop. Don't worry about the use of terminology yet. I will go through these concepts in the workshop in much great detail. Okay. I would like to show you how I would like to organize this workshop. I will begin by giving you some background information about why we need this workshop on coherence and cohesion in writing. And then I would like to draw your attention to the two key concepts to learn, that is coherence and cohesion. And then I will begin by talking about coherence, followed by cohesion. And then we'll have a recap. In between the topics of coherence and cohesion, I will let you have a break, have a 10-minute break. Okay, so let me begin with some background information first. So, how many of you are feeling worried about your writing ability at universities? Ash is raised. Ash has raised his hand. Okay, okay. But don't worry, Ash, because according to the research findings, actually this is a common problem. I mean, a lot of learners of English are actually facing this problem of writing academically in English. According to a study by Evans and Green in 2007, university students are quite concerned about the organization and grammar of their writing. And not only, it is not just a concern for students, but also for teachers. Teachers are also worried about their students' ability to organize a piece of writing coherently and cohesively. Just to let you know, if you want to produce a good piece of writing, we need to have some sense of reader awareness, because in the English academic world, actually it is the writer, it is ourselves who have the responsibility to communicate ideas smoothly to readers. What I mean is, when readers, I mean your teachers, your professors, are reading our essays, our assignments, our reports, they actually expect us to communicate, to convey our ideas, our information clearly to them, so that they don't have to, so that the teachers, your professors, don't have to stop and think, what is the student trying to say? They don't have to, the professors don't have to stop all the time. Usually, let me give you a tip. Well, if you want to get an A for an assignment, the best thing is to make your organization very clear to your teacher, because a teacher actually marks a lot of assignments and they would like to read an assignment very quickly and give a grade. So if you can manage to organize your essay or your written assignment in a clear manner, then you have a higher chance to get a good grade. Okay, so just to show you two pictures. Okay, would you like your readers to feel happy or feel confused about your work? I'm sure you want your teacher to feel happy about your work, right? Because this is, well, I can tell this piece of work is more likely to get an A. I'm not sure about the grade of this assignment. Maybe just a marginal pass, because you can tell from his facial expression that the teacher is not actually happy or satisfied with the work. To The point of showing you the two pictures is that um, if you can manage to organize your piece of writing very well, your reader will feel satisfied and you are very likely to get a good result for your assignment. So it would be good if you could have some sense of reader awareness. That is thinking about the reader when you are organizing and writing your written assignment. Okay, so far I've talked a lot about the importance of making our writing very clear to the reader. But how? What are the key strategies for us to do that, to organize our piece of writing in a reader-friendly manner? Then I would say my advice is to master some skills for coherence and cohesion. That's why we have today's workshop. And if you can have the ability to write coherently and cohesively, you can do better in IELTS writing. Are you guys planning to take IELTS during your graduation? Yes. Okay. If you are planning to take IELTS in the coming semester or later or sometime near your graduation, it will be useful for you to master some skills for writing coherent and cohesive texts. Um, our writing center actually plans to have some IELTS workshop in the next semester. And if you're interested, you may you may keep an eye on the IG account of the language center to see how you can register for those IELTS workshops. So as I said, if you look at the assessment criteria more closely, actually one of the assessment domains is coherence and cohesion. And if you look at the criteria more closely, it involves paragraphing. That is how you divide your written text into different paragraphs, and then whether each paragraph has a clear central topic, and whether one paragraph flows naturally to or transits naturally to the next one. I mean, the relationship between one paragraph and the next. And then finally, the appropriate use of cohesive devices, how you use words to connect ideas within a paragraph or even within a text. So I've talked a lot about the background information of the workshop. So at this stage, I think you will know how important it is to master some strategies and skills for coherence and cohesion. So um, here comes the two important concepts for you to remember after the workshop. For coherence, I would like to use two pictures to illustrate each of the two concepts. For coherence, maybe it would be good if you can imagine a puzzle, right? There are different bits and pieces of information, and you combine all these bits of pieces or pieces of information or ideas in order to form a coherent puzzle in order to convey a message to the reader. For cohesion, maybe I would like to draw on this metaphor of a chain. Okay, CHAIN chain. Okay, you can see one part is closely connected to the other part. I hope these two metaphors can help you remember the two terms very easily. Because we have non-English major students today, I'm not trying to go into detail about the technical aspects of these two terms. Right. For English major students, I think you will learn these two terms in your discourse analysis module sometime later. But at this for the purpose of this workshop, I will still introduce some useful terms, but not but I will try to explain them in simple details. Okay, so here comes the two terms coherence and cohesion. Okay, let me begin by talking about coherence first. Before I go into the concept, could you please read the two texts here? They are both talking about my friend Darren. And could you have a look at these two texts and tell me which one is more well written? Sorry? The second one, Justin, the second one, right? Can you tell me why the second one is better? Related to the person, more detailed related to the person. Yes, thank you. And what about Chris? What do you think? Uh-huh. Mm, no details. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Okay. Both the in-person both the in-person students said text speed is better. Okay. What about the Zoomers? What do you think? Oh, maybe. Okay. Seems that no Zoomers is giving me any response. Okay, but I would like to ask you a question. Can you have a look at text A again? Okay, there are both texts have four sentences. In text A, actually, the first sentence, Darren is a PhD student. Okay, it ends with the phrase, a PhD student. And then the second sentence begins with the same phrase, a PhD student. Then if you look at the second sentence, the end of the second sentence again, it ends with the phrase his study period. And then the third sentence of text A begins with his study period as well. And then look at the third sentence at the end of the third sentence, August 2024. And then in the last sentence of text A, it begins with August 2024. Don't you think that the text is more cohesive? So it is better. Not coherent enough. So, mhm, uh-huh. Okay, thank you, Ash. So, Ash suggested combining some elements in text A together. So I think you can spot the difference that, actually in text A, actually the words, there is a surface, surface, surface connection between sentences. But in text B, there is no such connection. However, text B is, you guys think text-based is better because it makes better sense. It gives more information or more informative, more informed, more informative when it comes to giving more information about Darren, right? What I would like to conclude from this mini activity is that, um, well, coherence and cohesion are two separate concepts. A text can actually be cohesive, like text A, but can be incoherent, not coherent. I mean, not coherent. A text like text A can be cohesive, but it doesn't make sense to the reader. Readers still don't know uh, about who Darren is, except the fact that he is a PhD student. Okay, from text A, we only know Darren is a PhD student. That's all. the other sentences are irrelevant to Darren. While if you look at text B, okay, okay, Darren is a PhD student. He's You also know a lot about his life as a PhD student. He works very lonely, and but he still wants to survive in academia because he wants to be a scholar in the future. Okay, text B is more informative with a lot of information about Darren. Here we come the concept of coherence. Coherence. Let me use let me explain the concept in layman's term. Where coherence is about putting everything together. Or according to this scholar, everything fitting well together so that your reader can understand what you are talking about, can make sense of what you have written. Like text B in the previous slide, readers can make sense of what they read, just like a puzzle. That's why I used the metaphor of a puzzle. You put you put the appropriate bits and pieces of information and ideas together so that the whole puzzle conveys a clear message of lovely flowers. Okay, now we know that coherence is about helping readers make sense of our writing. Then how can we create coherence in writing? How can we make sure that our writing, our pieces of work are coherent and readers can understand what we are trying to say? There are a lot of suggestions given from the literature. Here I've chosen one from Professor I.C. Lee. And I have adapted some steps and I'm going to show you in a minute. Okay, so imagine when you have received the task requirement or the assessment rubric. Um, what is the first thing that you are trying to look for in order to understand the assignment, the written assignment? Sorry? Progress. Purpose. Very good purpose. Yes, exactly. The very first answer to the first blank here. The purpose of the writing, why we have to work on this piece of assignment. Say whether we have to explain a concept, whether we have to discuss an issue from both sides, or whether we have to make suggestions based on some problems that I have identified. And other than the purpose, we also need to think about the readers. Yeah. So also, who are reading our work. Usually for university assignments, the readers are presumably our teachers, right? But when you enter the workforce, so when you enter the workforce, actually, you will be writing. You have more chances to write a lot of professional texts. Then the readership. I mean, the readers of your work can vary, ranging from your manager to your boss to some other external participants, some people from other companies. Determine the purpose, readers, and one more thing: the context of the writing. So why? So altogether, we need to consider why we are writing this piece of writing, for what purpose, for whom, and also under what situation. For example, whether we are writing a letter to the editor to complain about something, or whether we are writing an editorial to comment on something. I think you have noticed that I begin by giving you the some you know well, I begin at the more macro level before we work on the actual piece of writing. Um, so let us move on to the second step. After thinking at the macro level about the purpose, readers, and context of the writing, we need to determine I've given you some hints at the end. Argumentative writing, expository writing, report. These are all text types. different written assignments will have different requirements in relation to the text type. Sometimes you are told to write a simple essay. Sometimes you are told to write a report. Sometimes you are told to write a reflective journal. Different text types have different purposes, different readers, and different contexts. So and also a text type can have an impact on the overall text structure. Here, overall text structure means how you are going to organize or structure your text. Because the structure of a two-sided argumentative writing is different from a report, right? Say, a two-sided argumentative writing will require you to cover both sides of the issue, starting from the pros and then the cons, and then towards the end or in the conclusion, you summarize the points and make a conclusion, make a recommendation. But for a report, usually it is some kind of problem solution, right? In a report, you identify some problems first, and then you finish your report by offering some solutions, some possible suggestions to the problems that you have identified. So there is a close relationship between the text type and the overall text structure, because each text type can have different overall text structure that you have to follow. And then the fourth step, steps 1 to 3, actually we are working on the more macro level, the text level. Now, at the fourth step, actually we are working on the paragraph level, which is a more micro level, paragraph level. I think you have heard of the concept of topic sentences and supporting sentences before you enter university, right? So here, what I mean is, if you're writing an essay, you may need to pay attention to the paragraph structure, right? I think your professor or some professors actually have told you that, okay, make sure your paragraphs have clear topic sentences, and the supporting details are actually supporting your topic sentences. Some time ago, my teacher told me that actually, when professors grade students' work, some professors, not all, some professors will actually skim and scan the topic sentences of your written assignments and then give a grade. So you can see how important it is to have a clear topic sentence for each paragraph. Okay, after fixing or determining the paragraph structure, then here comes the last step. We need to ensure that every idea, every piece of information in a paragraph actually connects with one another. That is what I call paragraph unity. Okay, everything in the paragraph is related to one central topic. So so in this workshop, actually we are trying to I know we are trying to work on some ways that you can connect your information, your ideas together within a paragraph. And this is the focus of this workshop. Maybe you have a lot of ideas, a lot of information, or a lot of literature support for an essay assignment or for any written assignment, but how you can combine them in a coherent and cohesive way is the focus of this workshop. As I said, we need to ensure that our readers can make sense of our ideas, make sense of our work, and they can understand our ideas without having to pause and think over all the time. Okay, I have a short activity for you. Can you look at activity 1 on your worksheet? Let me give you some background information about the paragraph. I'm going to show you a paragraph. It's actually taken from my work, from my recent work. In August, actually, I've published a technology review in a journal, in RELC journal. In the technology review, I commented on the use of Wordle. I wonder how many of you are playing this game every day. I play it every day. Okay, although I can't get Justin. It seems that you're a fan of it, right? You are interested in this. You never tried it before. So do you know how to play Wordle? Sorry? Okay. You have six here you have six chances to guess a five-letter word. Having six chances to guess a five-letter word. Okay. So in my article, actually I commented on the usefulness and limitation of this of the game, the Wordle. And the paragraph that I'm going to show you actually talks about three design features or three good things about Wordle. Uh, I would like you to I would like to give you some time to read the paragraph first and find out two sentences. Two sentences that are unrelated to my idea, to my purpose of this paragraph. And if you can underline the two sentences that are unrelated to the main idea of this paragraph should thus be deleted. The two sentences do not appear in the journal. I mean, in the published version of the journal. But for the purpose of this activity, I've added two extra sentences so that you can see how important it is to achieve paragraph unity. But first of all, I will let you have a try first to identify the two sentences. Okay, here you go. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, shall I give you one more minute, maybe one more minute to identify the two sentences from the paragraph? From the in-person participants, actually they could successfully identify one extra sentence, but they actually have difficulties identifying the other one. Let's see how the Zoomers can whether the Zoomers can find the two sentences successfully. Or maybe let me give you a hint. The purpose of the whole paragraph, as you can see from the topic sentence, is to explain some good points about or good things about Wordle. Okay, that's the hint. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I've invited two participants, two in-class participants, to explain the two extra sentences to us. Okay, Justin will start by talking about the second one, and Chris will talk about the second sentence. Okay, Okay, Justin, what is the first sentence that you have spotted? Yeah, just read it.
The game addiction, as we all know, can lead to serious personality and mental health issues. I think it's not much related to the whole paragraph. I mean, it, uh, the end of the paragraph is to show the good signs of the Wordle. So the game addiction is maybe um, bad signs. So it's not really appropriate uh, to have these sentences here. So this is my personal opinion. So.
Okay, thank you so much, Justin. Okay, the sentence that begins with game addiction. Okay, Justin, get your gift. Thank you so much. Okay, now here we have Chris.
Okay. When we read the question, it mentioned there are two sentences unrelated to the writer's main idea. So we need to find something in terms of the game's advantage. But also at the beginning of this paragraph, three design features of auto merit attention. So we need to find something benefit very nice like that. But we also we checked at the end of the sentence, and I feel strange. However, Wordle consists only American English spelling, so I feel strange. Maybe British. So I think the second one is not related to the main idea of the writer.
Okay. Thank you, Chris. Get your gift from Ash. Okay. For in-person participants, actually, they can get a gift if they can answer the question correctly, or not actually correctly, but they have expressed their opinions the whole class. Okay, so maybe next time you can consider joining us in person so that you can have a chance to answer questions and get a gift. Okay, so I think both Justin and Chris are correct. These are the two sentences that I like to draw that should be deleted. Okay, for the first one, game addiction, as we know, can lead to serious personality and mental health issues. Because the purpose of this paragraph is about the good points, the good things about Wordle. Here, it seems that the sentence gives too much information, too much. It's talking too much about game addiction. Okay, the purpose of this paragraph is not about game addiction, right? Although I do mention game addiction in the previous sentence. So giving too much about game addiction in this paragraph is not really related to the purpose of this paragraph. And my second point is, as I've given you, as my hint has shown you, I tried to talk about or draw readers' attention to the good points about Wordle, right? So why is there a sentence talking about the limitation of Wordle, right? However, Wordle considers only American English spellings. So this sentence should be deleted, should be crossed out. The purpose of this activity is to give you a sense of the thing that we need to, the fact that we need to pay attention to whether every bits and pieces, every piece of information in a paragraph are actually related to the topic sentence. Sometimes when we are constructing a paragraph, it would be good to ask ourselves a question like, how does this sentence relate to the previous sentence or the sentences in the other paragraph? I think this is a good question that we can think about when we are trying to construct a paragraph. So from the activity, actually, you will know that there should be a development of ideas in writing. In the paragraph that I've shown you, actually, I started by the first reason, and then the second reason, and then the third reason. So there is a direction in my paragraph construction. Okay. Here comes the most difficult part for you when you are learning, when you come across the concept of coherence. I'd like to draw your attention to a theory about information packaging or information structuring. That is how we present ideas and information to our reader within a sentence. According to according to some discourse and analysts, a sentence or sometimes a clause consists of two parts. That is a theme and a rhyme. And I'm going to explain these two terms in a minute. Just to remember that a sentence or a clause can be divided into two parts, a theme and a rhyme. Let me explain what a theme is and what a rhyme is. Okay. So, can you look at these two simple sentences? John ate the apples yesterday. The apples were eaten by John yesterday. So this is what I mean by dividing the whole sentence into two parts, right? So this part is actually the theme. And the remaining of the sentence, the remaining part of the sentence is actually the rhyme. Okay, so what is the theme of a sentence? It's actually the sorry sorry. You can see it's actually at the the first element of a sentence. The first element of a sentence is of this sentence is actually John. John is the first piece of information that we know from this sentence. So, um, the so this is actually considered some kind of given information. And then the remaining part of the sentence, ate the apples yesterday, will give us some more information about John, right? Okay, now we know there is a person called John. So, what did John do yesterday? The remaining part of this sentence gives us more information about John. Ate the apples yesterday. So the rim gives some new information. It tells us more about John. So the same for this sentence. The apples were eaten by John yesterday. Now the topic of or the theme of this sentence is about the apples, right? The apples. What happened to the apples? The apples were eaten by John yesterday, right? So the remaining part of the sentence gives more information about the apples. So when it comes to the position, the theme is usually if the information presented in the first element of the sentence, while the rest of the sentence will be considered the rim. Okay, so just to remember that a sentence can be, well, from the perspective of information packaging or information structuring, a sentence can be divided into two parts, a theme and a rim, a theme plus a rim. And from the same perspective, um, the theme, because it is in the first position of a sentence, it is usually given more prominence. That is, it is more clear to the reader about what the sentence is about. Um, you know, how complicated the English language is, right? We can have a lot of complicated sentences. These are the two sentences that I've shown you are actually simple sentences, right? But we can have complicated sentences. I mean, I think for the purpose of this workshop, because we have non-English major students here, I can't go very into detail about the theory of theme and rim or the perspective of information structure. Otherwise, you'll feel very overwhelmed or you'll feel very scared by what I've told you in the workshop. I will stop talking about the theme and rim here, but the purpose of this slide is to show you that a sentence can actually be divided into two parts, a theme and a rim. For your information, we can classify themes into three types: topical themes, interpersonal themes, and textual themes. If you're interested in learning more about themes, you can email me and I can show you how you can. I can give you some references that you can read so that you can self-study more about the theory of theme and rim structure. Okay, there is a reason why I try to introduce the concept of theme and rim to you. I will show you in a minute. But before I show you the use of theme and rims in our writing, can I ask you to do the second activity? This time the sentence is quite simple. It's actually you have seen the first sentence. Wordle has one key limitation, blah blah blah, in the first activity, right? It is actually the topic sentence of a separate paragraph in my technology review. Now I'm showing you a short paragraph, and could you please identify the themes and rims in each of the sentences here? There are only three sentences in this paragraph. Okay, so This well, there are three sentences in this paragraph, right? As I said, the very first element of each sentence is the theme, and the remaining part of the sentence of each sentence would be the rhyme. So, in the three sentences here, here it begins by talking about Wordle, right? So Wordle is the theme, and then what am I trying to say about Wordle? That is one key limitation. So this part has one key limitation would be the rhyme. And then the next sentence, it refers to Wordle, right? Wordle. So Wordle is the theme. So what am I trying to talk about in this sentence? It elaborates further on the limitation. It considers only American English spellings. So this is the rest of the information that I'm presenting in this sentence. So this part is the rhyme. And then the last sentence. The purpose of this sentence is about the major issue, right? And so this is the theme, and then the remaining part of the sentence will be the rhyme because I'm trying to explain how this minor issue can be resolved. Okay, enough about theme and rhyme. So there are three. If we can, if we have some knowledge, some basic knowledge about themes and rhymes, that will help us a lot when it comes to organizing ideas. And this is the key part that one of the key things that I'm going to show you in today's workshop. That is thematic progression. Thematic progression is the term referring to how we organize our sentences, or actually our information, our ideas, into um, a paragraph logically and coherently, so that so that readers can read a paragraph right from the beginning very smoothly to the end without having to stop or pause all the time. Um, I'm going to show you three patterns today. Mind you, according to the literature, actually there are other patterns, right? But I'm showing you three patterns that are more related to academic writing. So here comes the three patterns: constant pattern, zigzag pattern, and mixed pattern. Let me begin by talking about what constant pattern is. Okay, the same theme is taken up and repeated in the next sentence. Can you look at the diagram here? Imagine these are two sentences, right? Each sentence begins with a theme and a rhyme. So the theme of the first sentence is repeated or taken up as the theme of the second sentence. So this is what I mean by the constant pattern, because the two sentences are using the same theme to begin. Let me give you an example here. Okay, have a quick look at the text. This paragraph talks about water, the importance of water. Water is an integral part of life on this planet, and then blah, blah, blah. And it gives more information about water. And there are 5 sentences here altogether. If we break up the paragraph, here are 6 parts because one complicated sentences is divided into 2. Okay, so here you can see the way thematic progression, or more precisely, the constant pattern works in this paragraph. It begins with, okay, the sentence, water is an integral part of life on this planet. The theme of the first sentence is water. And then the same theme is taken up and repeated in the next sentence. It, through the pronoun it refers to water, right? Water is a substance, blah, blah, blah. And then look at the third sentence, most of the water on earth. The third sentence still picks up the keyword water as the theme. And then the fourth sentence, 2% of the Earth's water is in solid form, blah, blah, blah. Look at the theme of this sentence. It still begins with the theme water. So you can see from this diagram, you can see how the constant pattern works. Each sentence begins with the keyword water as the theme. So this is what I mean by constant pattern. Okay, what about the second pattern, zigzag pattern? Okay, I think you can imagine one of the English alphabets that I'm trying to show you. C. Okay. The information in the rim of a sentence is taken up in the theme of the following sentence. Okay, look at the diagram again. Imagine you have two sentences, right? Each sentence has a theme and a rim. But this time, unlike the constant pattern, the rim of the first sentence is taken up and repeated and used as the theme of the second sentence. So taken together, you can see a connection between this part and this part. So I'm trying to use another metaphor, the English alphabet C. Okay. Have a look at this paragraph. This time it talks about the formation of a cold front. Okay, a kind of weather and climate phenomenon. Okay, a cold front. Have a quick look at it. Again, this sentence has four sentences and can be divided into 6 parts. Okay, I've highlighted the relevant themes and rims for our analysis. If you look at the first sentence, a cold front begins when cold air moves into an area, blah blah blah, which has warmer air. Okay, this time the rim of the second of the first sentence is repeated and used as the theme of the second sentence. The warmer air, blah blah blah. The second sentence gives more information about the warmer air. And so this is the first zigzag pattern that we can observe. And then in the second sentence, the warmer air rises over the heavier cold air. And if we look at the third sentence, as this occurs, blah, 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 this is actually this, the word this is a pronoun referring to the whole process expressed in the second sentence. So again, or more precisely, the pronoun this summarizes what has been said in the second sentence. So again, you can see another use of the zigzag pattern. And then look at sentence 4. The warm air cools and condenses into water droplets. The keyword droplets in the rim of this sentence is picked up as the theme. Droplets of blah blah blah. I mean the fifth sentence. And then we can see a zigzag pattern. And the last zigzag pattern that we can observe in this paragraph would be the use of droplets from the rim of this of the fifth sentence in which is being transformed as as the theme of the last part of the paragraph. Okay. So we can see four uses of zigzag pattern in this paragraph. So mixed pattern. Finally, the mixed pattern, as the name suggests, it's actually a combination of the constant pattern and the zigzag pattern, right? So here are two paragraphs talking about the use of computers, and you can see the first part. Well, the first part of the of this paragraph shows you the constant pattern. You can see the theme computers. The theme is being repeated in 3 times, and then starting from the third sentence, computers can process information. This part is being taken up. The rim is being taken up as the theme of the last sentence through the pronoun this. So you can see a combination of the constant and the zigzag pattern within the same paragraph. And then the same for this paragraph. You can see a constant pattern right at the beginning because the keyword computers appears twice in sentences 5 and 6. And then if you look at the last 2 sentences, it's actually a kind of a zigzag pattern because the rim of the previous sentence is taken up as the theme of the following sentence. So I have a short activity here. I'm showing you the same paragraph again. Okay, you have read this paragraph in activity 2, but this time I would like you to focus on the thematic progression pattern. What kind of thematic patterns can you can observe in this paragraph? After this activity, I will let you have a 10-minute break. Okay, maybe you can work on the activity first, and let's see how things go. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have invited Justin again to explain the thematic progression pattern in this paragraph. Okay, let us welcome Justin.
The first thing is that wordle. Yeah. The first ring has one key limitation. In the second sentence, it uses constant constant pattern. So it uh, it refers to wordle as a second sentence theme. The second ring is considered only American English speaking as spellings. In it make the second ring repeated and taken to the third theme. So this minor issue is preferred to the second ring. So the third ring is can be resolved by blah blah blah. Yeah, sensitizing players. Yeah, right.
Thank you so much, Justin. Thank you. Get another gift from Ash. Okay, so I think this diagram summarizes what Justin mentioned. Okay, the first 2 sentences show the pattern of a constant pattern. Show the constant pattern, right? Because both sentences here begin with the same theme, wordle. Although in the second sentence, it uses the pronoun it to refer to wordle. And then the last 2 sentences, actually, from the last 2 sentences of this paragraph, you can observe a zigzag pattern. So the rim of the second part of the second sentence is actually taken up as the theme of the last sentence through the phrase, this minor issue. Okay, let's take a break. We'll come back at 4:32. Okay, in the first part of this workshop, actually, I talk about the concept of coherence, right? Now, let me move on to talk about another concept that I would like you to remember today. That is cohesion. Okay, So you've seen the slide about the importance of creating coherence in writing. And you can see in the last step of creating coherence, actually we need to ensure paragraph unity. Another way to ensure paragraph unity, other than paying attention to thematic progression patterns, would be um, the use of cohesive devices in a paragraph. So that's what I mean by cohesion. Cohesion can be achieved through the use of grammatical and lexical cohesive devices. Cohesive devices are words that we can use to connect sentences or different ideas, different information together within a sentence or across sentences. So this is what I mean by the term cohesive devices. I will focus on the three types of cohesive devices today. So I'm showing you the diagram of a chain again, right? Just to help to remember what it means by by the term cohesive devices. You use cohesive devices to link different words or different pieces of information within a sentence. So these are the three types of cohesive devices that I will focus on. Number one, reference words. Number two, connectives. And number three, lexical cohesion. And the first two types are, well, if you look at the literature, the first two types are actually grammatical cohesion, right? Grammatical cohesion refers to the use of grammatical structures or other grammatical items to connect ideas. And lexical cohesion refers to the use of words, mainly vocabulary, to connect ideas and information together. I will talk about them one by one in today's workshop. Okay, reference words. Okay, this may be the most the simplest type of cohesive devices because it usually because reference words are basically the you use a lot, right? Well, we can use the term definite article to refer to the word the, right? We use the definite article the, and this, that, these, those, hesiate, are you with they hesiate? These are pronouns. We have different types of pronouns, but because we have non-English major students here, I don't want to go into detail about the classification of pronouns. But just to remember that we can use pronouns to link or connect sentences together. This is very easy. Okay, this seems to be very easy, right? You have seen from the previous example uh, that I've used the word it to refer to Wordle, so that I don't have to say, okay, Wordle is good, Wordle is great, Wordle is this, Wordle is that, blah blah blah. I don't have to repeat the word Wordle all the time. Using the definite article or pronouns are very easy, but there is a problem of overuse, right? Uh, I worked while I was doing my postgraduate study at Hong Kong U. I had the opportunity to work at at the writing center. Hong Kong U has a writing center. So say if you have a written assignment, you want someone to have a look at your assignment and give you some feedback. Then you go and book an appointment at the language center so that someone from the language center can help you read your writing and give you some comments and suggestions. I worked at that language center for 4 years, and one very common issue that I observed was the overuse of the pronoun it. Very often, when I read students' work, I often asked students a question: what does it refer? What does the pronoun it refer to? Right? Because the students usually relied a lot on the pronoun it to convey their meaning. It is good. It is that. It is blah blah blah. The pronoun it appears several times in the paragraph, and sometimes I didn't even know what what the pronoun it actually referred to in the paragraph. So what I mean by this example is that when we are using reference words like the pronouns, we need to make sure that there is a clear referent, okay, in the previous sentence. Something that readers can refer to very easily in the previous sentence when we are using the pronoun it. Otherwise, readers will have questions like, what do you mean by the pronoun it? What does it refer to? Okay. There is an additional type of reference words that I would like to introduce to you. I think you came across this word quite often. Okay, which, whose, who. These are relative pronoun. A relative clause like the three examples that you have seen in the paragraph that I've shown you. Okay, uh, let's just look at the first example. Wordle offers players who prefer an individual learning style a private sphere. Okay, who prefer an individual learning style? The underlined part is actually referring backward to players, to types of players that I'm referring to. It gives more information about the types of players. So here I argue that actually relative pronouns can also serve as a kind of reference words so that these relative pronouns are referring to the object, people, or things that you are referring to. Okay, other than reference words, the second type of cohesive devices would be connectives. Again, you used connectives quite a lot. I'm sure you have used at least some of them in your writing. Okay. Okay, connectives are words that we use to signal the relationship between ideas. According to the literature, there can be four types of connectives: additive, contrasting, casual, and example. Um, the earliest classification, or just for your information, the earliest classification of connectives appeared in 1976 by Professors Halliday and Hassan, right? They actually, they used different terminology here. I mean, the labels here. Again, I won't go into detail about the purpose of each type of connectives. But I would like to show you one common problem concerning the use of connectives. Again, like reference words, a connective can easily be overused if we don't consider the purpose or the function, communicative function of each type of connectives, right? Say we can, well, a common problem that learners of English have would be the misuse of on the other hand to give an additional idea. But indeed, you should use in addition if you want to give an additional idea. After you have mentioned one idea, if you want to give a second one, you can use in addition rather than on the other hand. That's because we use on the other hand to introduce a contrasting idea, something that is different from what we said previously. There is one connective that that has been severely overused, or maybe before I talk about that word, I would like to show you a case of misuse of connectives. As I said, I work at the Writing Center for 4 years, and I've observed how a lot of students simply relied on the use of connectives to connect sentences or like a glue, right? You have different parts that are actually unrelated. This and this, like for example, this part and this part, they are unrelated. A lot of students only used connectives as a glue to glue different parts together. Then they thought they had produced a coherent paragraph, but that is not the case. That is actually an over reliance on the use of connectives as a means of listing your arguments or your reasons. The issue can actually be easily resolved if we have some knowledge of thematic progression. That's why in the very first part of the workshop, I introduced the concept of thematic progression to you, so that if you are skillful enough in manipulating different types of thematic progression patterns, you don't need to rely a lot on the use of connectives to glue different reasons together. There are more elegant ways of connecting reasons, connecting ideas, connecting information, other than the use of connectives. I'm not saying that you can't use connectives. You can, but don't overuse connectives. Only use connectives when it is necessary. And this is one of the connectives that I would like to show you because it has been severely overused. That is the word besides, comma, besides. This is a letter that I've received recently. It's about the forthcoming election in Hong Kong. The first sentence, you do not need to reply to this letter. The second sentence will be the 2023 District Council Ordinary Election will be held on the 10th of December. You can see these two sentences are unrelated, right? Unrelated. But the writer only only relies on besides to connect two parts, two unrelated parts. And this is wrong because besides, the word besides has a particular function. I will skip this slide. It's emphatic. That is, we can use it to mention an additional reason that supports the previous reason. I'll give you an example to show you what it means in a minute. But more importantly, besides, it's actually an informal word, right? In academic writing, we need to maintain a formal use of tone, a formal tone, right? So words like besides are actually inappropriate. And it is more, the use of besides is more common in conversations and narratives. Narratives are, for example, like stories, right? Stories in informal or casual settings to persuade, advise, or argue something. So here comes an example to show you an appropriate use of besides. You can see the writer has a clear opinion that the writer doesn't want to go for a walk. This is her personal view, and it is made very clear. So the writer has two reasons why he or she doesn't want to go for a walk. Number one, it is quite cold. And the second one, it's getting late and we don't want to be out in the dark. You can see the writer is using besides to connect the two reasons. And not only that, the reason after the word besides actually supports or adds strength, add force to the first reason. So the use of besides has an added meaning of adding some sort of force, F-O-R-C-E, force to this first reason. So from the use of from this case, actually, we have got to be very careful with the use of connectives, especially with the word besides. And like what I said in the previous slide, actually, it's from another article written earlier, some time ago. Sometimes when you flip through the English grammar textbooks, you can see different people. Well, you can see, or actually, a lot of people simply put also, besides, furthermore. These are all additive connectives. We can use them to make an additional point, to add an additional point. But in fact, the textbooks can be, just to remind you that sometimes textbook information can be misleading because because they don't explain the pragmatic uses of connectives, like the case of besides. Say, besides is used in informal contexts. It is used to reinforce a reason mentioned previously, and these things are not covered in grammar textbooks. So we have to be a bit critical when we are reading grammar textbooks for our self-studies. So the whole point is we have got to be very careful with the word besides as a connective. There is one case where we can use besides in academic writing. Again, this is another paragraph taken from my technology review of Wordle. We can use besides plus a noun phrase or a pronoun, like the one underlined for you, besides morphological and phonological awareness raising. Here, what I'm trying to do is to use this phrase to summarize what I've said in the first part of the paragraph. Then after using a phrase to summarize what I've said previously, I introduced another pedagogical value about Wordle. So you can use a structure like this, besides plus a noun phrase or pronoun, to connect two parts within a paragraph together in order to give a mini summary of what you have said before you introduce another point or another piece of information. If you don't want to use the word besides here, you can use in addition to. In addition to, again, plus a noun phrase or pronoun. That can also achieve the same purpose. Okay, after I've talked about reference words and connectives, the last cohesive device, last type of cohesive devices that I would like to talk about would be lexical cohesion. As I said, we use words to we can use vocabulary items to connect ideas together. If you look at the literature, actually, there are different types of lexical cohesion, like synonyms, antonyms. But again, because we have English major students here, I can't go into we have non-English major students here. Maybe it may not be the good idea for me to go into detail about the technical things of the types of lexical cohesive devices in greater detail. But if you are interested in learning more about lexical cohesion, you can approach me and I can show you how you can learn more about lexical cohesion by yourself after class. But I would like to show you two strategies: reiteration and collocation. Okay, I will show you some examples very soon. Okay. But before I talk about reiteration and collocation, I would like to introduce the term shall nouns to you. A shall, that means words like this trend has been blah, blah, blah. This, or sometimes the, that, these, those, plus a noun, in order to summarize what you have said in a previous sentence. You can click on the website here, on the link here to get access to a list of potential shall nouns. I'm afraid we don't have enough time for activity 4, so I'm using these two sentences as examples to show you what it means by shall nouns. Okay, look at the first, in the first sentence, I'm talking about virus transmission, right? So you can see the word circled, methods. Okay, the word methods actually summarizes what I've said previously about how to prevent virus transmission, like frequent washing of hands, use of face masks, blah, blah, blah. And then in the second example, I used the shall noun trend, T-R-E-N-D, to refer to the information or idea that I talked about in the previous sentence. An increasing number of overseas students are attending university in the UK. So these two examples show you the use of shortcuts as cohesive devices. So let me show you this paragraph to see how lexical cohesion works. You have read this paragraph in activity 1, right? It talks about the good things about Wordle. Okay. Okay. Look at the column lexical cohesion here. I used the Shannon design features to introduce to readers what I'm going to talk about in this paragraph, right? And then reiteration here. Reiteration. One of the reiteration strategies would be repetition, like the word Wordle, blah blah blah. But sometimes I don't want to use this. I don't want to repeat the same word Wordle all the time. So I use the game, right, as kind of like a variation. But what I mean by collocation, okay, collocation would be some use of vocabulary items, right? Here in the paragraph, I used two types of vocabulary items. The first type would be the vocabulary related to games, right? Games. You can see words like gaming, players, game instructions, game proficiency. These are words these are words clustering around the central idea of games. Other than the vocabulary set of games, another vocabulary set would be that related to language learning, right? I used words that are related to language learning, like vocabulary bank, interest, or learning style. These are what we call subject-specific vocabulary. Because the paragraph appears in a technology review for an English language teaching journal, right? That's why I was using words related to language learning in order to engage in the discussion about English language learning materials, right? You can see how I used the word, the two strategies, reiteration and collocation, in constructing my paragraph about the good things about Wordle. Okay. I actually have another activity for cohesive devices. But I don't think we will have time to work on it, right? Okay. So these are actually, well, I hope to originally I was planning to use this activity to show you, to let you have a taste of, sorry, to let you have a taste of how how the three types of cohesive devices work in another paragraph, right? Right. I mean, the use of reference words, connectives, and lexical cohesion, how these cohesive devices work in a paragraph. But I can send you this for your self-study. Originally, I planned to work on this part in class, but unfortunately, we don't have enough time for the analysis. So maybe I can leave it on your own. Okay, I would like to end today's workshop by giving you a personal hint. Um, I can give you a hint on how, if you want to get an A for your assignment, for your written assignment, it would be good if you can ensure that your your reader, your professor, your teacher can only can read your essay, your written assignment only once, from the beginning to the end, only once, without having to stop all the time. So the tip that I would like to share with you is think like a reader. This is actually the same tip that I shared with the participants last time during the email workshop. Always bear in mind that there is a reader reading your work. And what I mean by think like a reader, whether the readers can successfully interpret what we intend to convey. That is, whether they can understand what we want to say, what we want to express very easily. Without having to stop and think over all the time. So this is the tip that I can show you, and I hope this will be useful for your um, future writing. So just to recap today's learning outcomes. Okay, I hope by the end of this workshop, you will be able to identify the common thematic progression patterns and also the cohesive devices, and you can try to apply them in your academic writing to see whether to improve your the coherence and cohesiveness of your paragraphs and even the whole piece of the whole text. So like last time, I've attached a list of references. If you would like to go into detail about some of the points that I mentioned in the workshop, you can download some of the articles there. Okay, thank you for attending my workshop. I will hand over the time to Ash and he will show you how to fill in the evaluation form. Thank you.